Democracy comes from the Greek word Demokratia. Demos stands for people, while kratos stands for rule. This makes democracy the rule of the people. It is a political theory that the demos, the general public, have authority to rule over themselves. That is, the people of a state have power over their own legislation. This started in 451 BC, when Pericles introduced an Athenian citizenship law, so that the people born in the city with Athenian parents could be collectively grouped as the demos. In turn, the demos, comprised of strictly Athenian citizens, could deliberate on legislation. The people of the city truly got to rule over themselves, and outsiders had no influence. This is a direct democracy, where the people directly and actively participate in the political discourse. There's also a representative democracy. This is a Roman idea, which removes the direct interaction in favor of electing few to represent the views of many. Politicians, elected by the general public, deliberate with their constituents on behalf of what they believe is best for those who voted for them. This system is actively used in the United States today and most present-day democratic nations. The only country that still utilizes direct democracy today is Switzerland. Each democratic system has various strengths and drawbacks that make them appealing as a form of government. Direct democracy allows each individual voice to be heard and gives everyone the ability to contribute if they so desire. Switzerland's citizens can use popular initiative to suggest and challenge laws up to the national level. This is more similar to the democracy imagined by the Greeks, yet it is still not perfect. Switzerland struggles to keep people engaged. On average, approximately 4 out of every 10 Swiss voters appear at polls for every possible election, and overall turnout rarely exceeds 50%, according to Maria Wakeman of Yale. This happens because Switzerland is almost too democratic. There's too much for people to constantly be considering. This is what makes a representative democracy so appealing. It is much more efficient at scale. Here, the voters can just elect somebody to speak for them. Politicians can then specialize on these issues and be a buffer between the people and the law. The only thing people have to worry about is electing the correct person to represent them. The drawback with this style is that the common person is removed from the conversation. Democracy largely serves self-interest, and when practiced in a representative manner, legislation will always favor those who are chosen to represent. Combined with the new age of the internet, it is easy to see how these styles of government contribute to polarization. Political polarization is the divergence of political attitudes away from the center towards ideological extremes, and this can easily bleed into general social interaction. Pew Research finds that Democrats and Republicans are farther apart ideologically today than at any time in the past 50 years. Pew has also found that there are now only about 24 moderate Democrats and Republicans left on Capitol Hill versus more than 160 in 1971-1972. As these numbers continue to grow, so does the likelihood of fear and violence manifesting in political and public spheres. 70% of Democrats and 62% of Republicans say that they are afraid of the other party. In theory, democracy should fairly represent everyone, so how is it contributing to such a divide? One of the main contributing factors to polarization in recent years is the invention and installation of the internet and social media. The internet has proven effective at combating the shortcomings of each democratic system. A direct structure struggles with voter turnout, so more polarizing issues on the ballot can create buzz online. Politicians are then incentivized economically and politically to take drastic stances to drive attention and interaction. Social media is not concerned with nuanced political discussions, so the issues are often boiled down to a tantalizing headline and forces people to choose a side of the battle. A similar problem occurs in a representative democracy. Politicians are looking for votes, and in this new age, the internet is the best way to advertise themselves. By promoting a drastic stance on polarizing topics, they make a name for themselves in the media and draw attention to the issues they specialize in, not to mention the economic benefits that follow. Pew finds that Americans who primarily turn to social media for political news are less aware and less knowledgeable about a wide range of events and issues in the news. They are more likely than other Americans to have heard about a number of false or unproven claims. So regardless of which democratic structure is in place, the internet has proven to be a catalyst for polarization. But how exactly is this happening? Recall that traditionally, a democracy was defined by the demos, a group of citizens that are outlined to be a part of the governmental structure. Pericles made it so you must be a citizen in order to participate, but the internet has broken down all of those barriers. Social media allows for people to engage with communities everywhere, making the conventional demos completely unidentifiable. Political views have become impossible to categorize within geographically representable borders. There's now an emphasis on international and national news, issues, and policy, instead of those originating more locally. Someone in China can easily contribute to a political discussion with a Canadian about the United States. The Nature and Origin of Misperceptions, a paper published by Dartmouth, notes that in polarized situations, we feel intense social pressure to think and act in ways that are consistent with important group identities. Instead of thinking for ourselves, we tend to reason toward conclusions that reinforce existing loyalties rather than conclusions that objective observers might deem correct. Everyone is everywhere now. Which groups are people siding with? Who is in those groups? And how should they ever elect a representative? The internet and social media have muddied important group identities that representative democracy is based upon. It does have the potential to serve as a marketplace of ideas where people can openly and responsibly discuss these political problems in search of resolution. So how can we ever get there? The easiest answer would be to revert the invention of the internet, but that is impossible. So how can we move forward successfully while incorporating into our democracy? The conventional idea of the demos needs to be reestablished and given its power back. Switzerland advocates power to its people through popular initiative, meaning that the public can create and vote on laws up to the national level. A similar program could easily be enacted in the United States by utilizing a new progression in the structure of the internet. This new installation, Web 3.0, offers a chance for the public to reclaim its democratic power. Web 1 allowed users to view the internet, Web 2 allowed for two-way interaction, and now Web 3 allows for actual ownership of the internet through the blockchain, a collection of AI computers with no inherent interests. The Institute for Global Change finds that Web 3 structure creates what they call a liquid democracy. This is an optimal blend of a representative and direct democracy that can be applied at scale. No longer will citizens need to place trust in a potentially crooked politician to represent their best interests or have to worry about popular legislation being blocked from a vote. Instead, its code automatically enacts the majority view of its members. So in Web 3, an app like Twitter would be ran autonomously by AI. To propose changes to Twitter's platform today would only be possible by its owner Elon Musk, but with Web 3, choices can be made by the public that are instantly changed within the source code. Twitter can actualize itself as the marketplace of ideas instead of a platform for farming revenue and attention from its users. The World Economic Forum finds that it presents an opportunity where people are not merely products or beneficiaries of technology-powered business models, but builders and owners of digital unique assets. With the speed the world is now changing due to technology linking up each corner of the world, nothing less than a liquid democracy will be required to keep up. Web 3, if implemented correctly, could potentially serve as a technological basis for this major improvement to our currently outdated system of democracy. The demos could be representable and recognizable, allowing for the fundamental theory of democracy to shine through. Web 3 advocate Richard Merkel believes this new approach to governance allows for us to design a new form of democracy which is more stable, less prone to erratic behavior, better able to meet the needs of its citizens, and which better uses the expertise of all its citizens to make high-quality decisions. While Web 3 may mend polarization on a practical scale, it'll still require much effort from the common person to push our society in a more positive direction. The current standard of living has fostered environments of high volatility and hatred that has led our country and world down a much darker path than the Founding Fathers and Pericles ever imagined. Everyone can benefit from realizing that there is only one team, which is all of humanity. We should simply be doing our best so that we can find reasonable solutions instead of tearing each other down in the process. If we take that necessary step, we may be able to build towards a more united states and a more united world of humans. Polarization and the deterioration of democracy are a massive problem that we face, but it is not one that humans cannot fix together. My name is Tanner Sell, and this is a problem I hope we can solve.